Hey, what's up? Culture Drop, Galen here. This video is about something I think is so critical to your self-awareness, emotional intelligence, your ability to masterfully move through situations, and that is don't be defensive. Talking about some real Zen stuff here. I think a level of communication of self-control that can exist for you is in any situation, no matter what, to not become defensive. Somebody's giving you feedback that you don't agree with or that's triggering you, or somebody accuses you of something. Just in any situation, I want you to think about for a second, what is made better in that situation by you reacting in a really defensive kind of put your hackles up and be like, no, way. Nothing ever. No situation is made better by that. And what happens essentially is that when you become defensive, you make the conversation about you and your feelings, and as opposed to someone coming to you to say, hey, that really pissed me off that you said that, or whatever it is, whatever the feedback is like, hey, you're not a very good leader, or whatever. Or even if something is delivered not well, not respectfully, not in a really great way, because most people are not great communicators. So most of the feedback that you get that's hard to hear is going to come from someone who's not highly emotionally intelligent, who doesn't know how to frame things up or use nonviolent communication. So in those moments, for you to catch yourself and be aware of your reaction in that moment, and this is at work with a colleague, this is in a romantic relationship, for you to in that moment have enough kind of self-control over your own emotional behavior to not become defensive, right? To be in the place of hey, you're not having a great experience. Let's talk through this. Let's tell me more about what you're thinking, or what's going on, or let me understand that, or I'm sorry that I had that impact on you. I'm sorry that what I said had that impact. To be able to remain calm and not become defensive is so critical. It's so critical to thinking about the outcome of that situation, how the other person will be impacted by that, as opposed to creating something that immediately results in conflict. You can keep things down here emotionally, right? And with your calm language, by not being defensive, by being curious, by being hey, I'm sorry that you're having this experience. I'm sorry this is happening, or that right, there's static between us. Obviously, you're very upset, or whatever it is, to be let's kind of talk through that. Let's move through that. This is incredibly hard to do. I don't pretend that if that's not something that you've really practiced at and worked at and can just naturally happen, that just by hearing that, you're gonna be able to just do that in the moment. It's really hard. It takes practice, it takes reflection, it takes intention of when we have a situation that's triggering to us or that causes us to immediately have an emotional reaction in that moment, to not become defensive. Leave the walls down, have the conversation. I promise you, the outcome of that, the impact of that, to lessen the emotion in the conversation, right? To also sort of on some level disarm the other person, right? And have them stay kind of calm by not escalating of you raise your voice and get loud and they do too, as opposed to just not being defensive. I think it's a superpower for heroes, not for heroes, for leaders, for people in any relationship in your life with friends. You're going to have conflict. You're going to say things that rub people the wrong way, that cause static in your life. That is inevitable. No matter what, in your friendships, at work, it's going to happen. And for you not to become defensive in those moments when somebody is upset by you, or they're sharing feedback with you, or you've messed something up and whatever, even if that person is not completely just, or they're not accurate from your perspective of what they're saying, you remaining calm and not becoming defensive is a huge, really, really key thing for your own self-awareness, being in control, keeping conversations low stakes, low emotion, not letting things get, anger you and rile you up a lot. It takes a lot. It takes a lot of sort of practice and intention and being kind of zen and chill in that moment. But if you can accomplish that, if that's something to focus on and be this is how I want to be, is never defensive, being able to be willing to be vulnerable, to be tell me more about that. I think that's just huge level up for you. All right. I have a question. What if instead of filming, we just played PS5 all day? I love filming, but I really love video games. Thanks for watching and tuning in. Subscribe to our channel. We put a lot of content on here. You can also subscribe to the Culture Drop mailing list and get these emails in your inbox every Tuesday morning. Follow our social media channels. Put a lot of free content out about just being more awesome and building great teams.